Before dawn, the kitchen woke without him. Pans breathed when the burners caught, the hood rumbled like distant surf, and the clock over the prep table pinched out seconds in a quiet, relentless click. Tony stood in the middle of it all. 6 months since the fire. He had written it once on the calendar. He didn't need to anymore. Taste had been his first language. Smoke had taken its vowels. So he learned other alphabets. Oil told him the temperature by the sounds it made, a whisper, a murmur, or a shout. Bread gave away its doneness with a sigh when you cracked its crust. Citrus announced itself to his fingertips as a thin sting that stayed on the skin. He measured salt by weight, acid by how a sauce pulled at the ladle, and sweetness by the wider arc his wrist made when something finally let go. Zoe, the youngest on the line, watched without staring. She burned a sauce once and braced for his verdict. He only lifted the pan, let the steam touch his cheek, and started again. Reopening had first been pride, now stubborn love. Tonight carried a rumor. A critic was coming. He didn't admit that the critic was also a woman who used to know his pillow and his jokes. When she arrived, Olivia, she sat alone and asked for that dish. Tony cooked it without tasting. He watched the broth find its shine, listened for the scallops to lift from the steel. He placed the plate in the pass and watched her face. She took a bite and closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were bright. "I remember," she said, as if memory itself had flavor. Service rolled on. Plates left. Plates returned empty. After the last ticket, Zoe came to him with a small jar and a folded stack of index cards. "I've been writing it down," she said, suddenly shy. "How you know?" Inside were notes. Acid equals ear pricks. Salt equals heavier ladle. Sweet equals wider wrist arc. A map of gestures turned to taste. He held the cards the way you hold something important. "My hands learned new words," he said, half to Zoe, half to the room that had taught him. "Yours gave them subtitles. Who deserves a thank you in your life for noticing what you couldn't?"